Hello, thank you for clicking on my video. I'm Sharon from Grace's Neighbor Sharon, and I hope you enjoy today's projects. Let's get to crafting. This video is part of the 4th Friday Open Challenge with the theme of Christmas, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it later on in the video. Project number 1, floating snow and star. So I've always wanted to do a floating ornament type thing. So here we go. This is the thrift store find, the frame. I got it for 50 cents. And I was showing you those L brackets there, and you can use L brackets in yours, but I wasn't sure how I wanted to display mine, so I left the brackets off just in case I wanted to hang it. I can always put them on if I decide to make it a leaner. So I have some burnt umber acrylic paint, and I have 6 ornament shapes because I want to do 3 hanging, and we're going to double them up with the hanging cord in the middle. For the hanging cord, I use fishing line, so it's really hard to see. I had like a scrap piece of fishing line because I couldn't find my roll. It ended up being exactly enough, and of course I found the roll after the project was done. So here I am with the fishing line after getting the burnt umber rubbed onto those ornaments, and I just did that with a baby wipe, a very damp baby wipe. Now here I'm trying to figure out how to tie the fishing line, and at first I just kind of held it on the frame and tried stapling it, but these big staples do not go in very well, and I was going to try and get it out, but it wasn't budging, so I hammered it in. But I didn't like the idea of not being pulled taut. Like, I hammered it in and there was a knot that I tied on the fishing line, but I tried tugging it to have the knot meet up with the staple and it wouldn't budge. And I didn't like that idea. And what I ended up doing, and what I feel like worked really well, is tying the knot onto the staple and then hammering the staple into the frame. So just staple the frame, pull the fishing line in between the frame and the staple, tie a knot, and then hammer it in. Dallas actually did this when she was making an ornament. That's why I popped her information up there, because I actually commented on her video, like, what a cool idea to double them up with this string in the middle. So the idea of doing it that way and being able to make it into a floating ornament, which is something I've always wanted to do, it just kind of was a light bulb moment, I guess you could say. Now you can, I don't have very good eyeball measurements, so I measured it with a ruler, but I mean, if you have good eyeballs, you could do it your way. Do you boo, right? So this is just another view of how I did it, and I used the 2 glue method, the Elmer's wood glue, and then to finish it off, I put a little bit of the hot glue and then get the ornament on there right away. Because with those 2 glues, I mean, you cannot hardly move it. Like, when it gets down there, it's like a second or 2. And normally with just hot glue, you can wiggle it around a bit, but with those 2 glues, it was just, it's there and it's not going anywhere. So here I'm finishing up. I finally figured the best way to do it, and I'm done, but I'll give you a better look at this during the final reveal. The 4th Friday Open Challenge happens every month and is hosted by Lisa from Our Grey House and Sarah from Jujube DIY. Their channel links, as well as a link to the playlist, is in my description box below. Let's get back to the crafting. Project number 2, Snowy Pizza Pan. The thrift store find is the snowflake, the ribbon, and the faux snow. Those other ones are coming up. Here I'm looking at other snowflakes I have that might complement it on the pizza pan. I want the white one to be the focal point, but I think it would look funny if you didn't put some other ones on it with it. So normally I would sand the pizza pan and clean it with rubbing alcohol, but here you see I'm using the rubbing alcohol first and then a layer of Mod Podge. I really don't want to do that again. I did not like it. I'm going to stick with what I've been doing and what I like and what works for me. I went ahead and put I thought it was a thin layer. I even brushed some extra off. It took a while to dry. I had to go on another project, and the first coat you could see through. So I put on a second coat and it crackled, and I don't know if you can see the crackle. I'm going to show here in just a second. I thought, well, I have to get it white. I have to do a second coat, but I was kind of mortified and I was like frustrated, but I started to sand it. And then I'm like, you know what? Let's just pretend that I meant to do that. So put my sandpaper away and started working on the snowflake. I put some of those little Dollar Tree cubes, the ones that are like half the size of the tumbling tower blocks. And that was just to raise it up and make it more the focal point. And then some of the faux snow can like fall in behind it and everything. So I thought that would look good. And that red flower is just there to give me an idea of how much room the bow is going to make, so I know where I want to put the snowflake. So if I put it too high, then the bow and embellishments is going to cover it up. So it's more or less a dry fit. My Let It Snow words I did on Cricut. It was an image search. I wish I had made it a little bit bigger because it is kind of small. But I'll work with what I have. I kind of want it to be about 2 inches, and it's probably only about 1 inch. I actually trimmed the word snow to get it to fit the curve of the pizza pan. I tried curving it on Cricut, but the curve was just too pronounced. So I went ahead and did it by cutting the SN, and then I'll put on the OW. And I'm using Dollar Tree transfer tape here, and it's a little flimsy and it's made for the bigger machines, but I just like cut it in strips and I did not have any trouble whatsoever. So here I've cut 2 pieces of ribbon and hot glued them. So I'm going to make an X with them by cinching them together. And when I say cinch, I'm usually just like tiny little folds and smushing them together. And I think I used floral wire to cinch them because it's a nice tight. It holds them on nice and tight. After I got the X, I worked on the awareness ribbon bow, which is what I usually do, but this time I just wanted it to be bigger. I wanted my bow to be bigger. So once I'm got my dovetails on my awareness ribbon bow, I set it on top of my X to see how it looks and make sure I don't need to, pull any parts of ribbon here or there. So here I took a length of ribbon and I rolled it. And what I'm going to do with that roll is actually make it the middle of the awareness ribbon bow. And it's just nice sometimes to cover up the middle. And since I had wire there, it wasn't really that attractive. So I wanted something else to be there. I know Tammy from Happiness Created does this a lot. And I used to do it and kind of got away from it, but I do like how it looks here. And this ribbon is really nice and light and sparkly, but it doesn't come across that way in the video. But wow, in person it's really pretty. I'm not sure why it's not showing up sparkly here. All right, so I worked with either floral wire or pipe cleaner here and got everything together. And then I'm putting down a bead of hot glue for the other embellishments. And I actually just had the bow there to see how much space I needed in between these two pieces of greenery, and lifted the bow up to get the floral and greenery down, and then I'll put the bow back. And these are just scraps, like floral scraps. I had made a centerpiece last year and pulled out the poinsettias and the greenery and saved them for something else. I was going to do it again this year, but I have a tier tray that I really, really like, and we'll probably switch places with this centerpiece. And then I'll redo my centerpiece for next year, because I redo it for the seasons. But I just decided the tier tray looked really pretty, and let's finish up here. So this is just Mod Podge on the outside edge of the pizza pan. And then I work with the faux snow like I would with glitter. But this snow doesn't have any glitter in it. And I have some Dollar Tree snow somewhere, but I couldn't find it. I was going to mix it together. So I just work with, this is my thrift store snow. And I just put random splashes of Mod Podge here and there, and then just kind of dumped the snow on it and then sort of pressed it down. It's gonna fall off, guys. It's just gonna fall off. That's what it does. And I will give you a good look at this coming up in the final reveal. Project number 3, Jingle Basket Wreath. The thrift store find are these green baskets. I got 8 for $5. I'm calling them baskets. There might be a different name for them. The ribbon, I believe, was $4 there. I'm showing you. That was also the thrift store find. Most of the poinsettias and greenery are left over from a centerpiece that I did last year. And I have that one gold and red flower that was part of a package I got from Amazon. I also have that Jingle door hanger, and that was purchased at Dollar Tree last year. I haven't been to Dollar Tree a lot this season, so I'm not sure if they still have it. I accidentally took it all apart when I tried to take the little flower and bow off, so instead of wiring the whole knocker to the basket, I just kind of tried tying the bells together so that they would jingle and so that they would stay together, just regular double knots, and then jammed it through the weave on the basket. And I guess it had to be done first, but man, I was a pain listening to those things jingle the whole time I was crafting, I gotta tell you. So now I'm just doing what I call a dry fit. I'm basically pulling things out of a little bucket I have of the florals, the leftover florals, and here's the ribbon, and this ribbon is kind of flimsy, flimsier than what I'm used to. You know, I'm used to burlap and just fabric and stuff. So what I did is I just did one loop like this, and I'll fix the loop there. And then I made my regular awareness ribbon bow, and then I just wired that extra loop on the top of my bow. So it's just like a double bow. Okay, so for the middle, I did this in the previous project as well, only this time, since the ribbon is flimsy, I rolled a piece of fabric around a pipe cleaner and used that as the middle of the bow. And I used the pipe cleaner to go through the weave in the basket and just twisted it around. So that bow is not going anywhere. And that's basically what this project is all about. I'm going to take the flowers, the florals. Oh wait, I have to, this is the one that I do glue. I used hot glue to attach it to the bow. And now for these poinsettias, these are the leftovers. I'm just trimming the stem and then jamming the stem through the back of the basket. Some of the greenery I had to use wires, and then afterwards I just trim all the wires on the back. Just trim as I go. Now I'm looking for berries, and I dumped this little red thing out. And y'all, it's a Skittle. I had a Skittle in my floral bucket. I then hot glued this wood welcome sign in the middle. I'm still kind of on the fence about it though, because that is a pretty weave on the basket, but I'll give you a good look at this during the final reveal. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a big thumbs up.